I tried my hardest in my last United video to be as positive as I could be because these bozos had once again tricked me into believing in them after the Arsenal game. But I've had enough. Ruben Amorim has to go. Sometimes I make a conscious effort to not make too much content about United on the channel because there's so much happening across all of Europe's top leagues, and I like to have discussions about the general football landscape, so I don't want to become a United channel specifically. And well, also because we do suck. But I'm sorry, it's just reached a point where I have to get this stuff off my chest because since a certain Ruben Amorim joined the club just about a year ago, the club has literally been in a free fall. Many United fans were very eager to get Amorim through the door because we were all just so scarred of what we were coming off of with Erik ten Hag, and pretty much the optimism just got the better of us all. I was never fully aware of what the guy was capable of, so when he got announced, I literally tweeted that by this point he'd be sitting in one of two polarizing positions. I will say though, before I rip into the guy and plead for my club to get rid of him, he is better than ten Hag in one major aspect, and that being his talent ID. If United do sack Amorim, which doesn't look very likely at the moment, then at least he brought in Cunha, Dorgu, and Buemo and Seshko while also pushing certain players at the club. So at a bare minimum, he'll leave the squad in a better position than the guy who gave us Onana, Højlund, Antony, and Ugarte. So now, why am I, a small fish in the United content creator pond, now calling for this guy to leave my club? Well, there's a little bit from last season, a whole lot from this season, so like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into it, why don't we? So in case anybody needed a refresher, last season was a disaster, at least from when Ruben Amorim joined and onward. We finished in 15th place, got knocked out of the FA and EFL Cups in very disappointing fashion, and scraped our way to a Europa League final where we played like absolute dog and lost to 17th place Tottenham Hotspur. For a little bit when Amorim first joined, people gave him some leeway, and rightfully so. He was coming in from Sporting, so definitely was going to need an adjustment period, and was trying to use his very specific 3 at the back system with his squad full of players who had only been deployed as a 4 at the back. So at first there was an understanding that he needed some time, and it was given to him. But as the season went on, really nothing would improve. Our form would be atrocious, and we would only be able to beat sides that were already destined to be relegated. So that was pretty much it for season 0 or 0.5 for Amorim. 15th place, playing terrible football, no trophies, and a -10 goal difference. If we're being honest, it was very clear that the system that he was deploying was not very good. Literally any time we came up against a competent team, we were getting cooked because even if we did get started well, they'd just do a quick adjustment. All of a sudden, now we were on the back foot. But again, Amorim more or less had an excuse in saying that he simply didn't have the players that he needed to make it work. And to be fair, he did have a little bit of room for this being a valid excuse because we saw how much the team dynamic did change when we brought in Dorgu. Dorgu isn't world class, he's an okay player, he's good, he's young, he's raw, he's okay, but he's a natural left wing back, so having someone who knows a role definitely helps. So again, a little bit of leeway, but come on man. But for me, it's not really about the personnel. The underlying issues in my opinion have always been the system for a reason that we'll get into in just a little bit. But alas, with the season now over, now we head into the transfer market to see who we could bring in to really help this team get better. It was very important that we recruited well because our attack desperately needed a revamp. We needed a new midfielder, and a goalkeeper with hands was something that we really did need at the club as well. So everything, we needed a whole lot pretty much. And a couple of booms that I mentioned in my last video. Mateus Cunha was brought in from Wolves for 62 million euros. Buemo was brought in from Brentford for 70 million euros. Seshko from Leipzig for 76 million euros. And Lamins from Antwerp for 25 million euros. So with that, United had revamped their attack with 2 Premier League proven players and 1 project signing, brought in a keeper that potentially could be the new #1 for a low fee, so a little bit of a low risk. We got rid of most of the bomb squad as well, which is good, but missing out on signing a single midfielder definitely had the potential to come back to bite us in the ass. A lot of changes inside, but one thing that has not changed is the system and style of play. Really the biggest mess up of the season. 3 at the back formations aren't a problem as a whole, but the way that Amorim's version plays out has already shown so many signs that it will not work at a high level. At this point now, starting the season, there was no more leeway for Amorim. Big money was spent and he finished in 15th place. Are you hearing me? 15th. Things needed to change quickly. It's not like we got unlucky and we finished, I don't know, 8th, 9th, or 10th. We were 15th. Things were DEFCON 5. It cannot get any worse than what we were already at. So with the new front 3 more suited to what Amorim wanted, we went into the season with some mid expectations already, but boy, how quickly did those expectations drop. Thanks in large part to that Amorim system. So the very first game against Arsenal, I've already talked about it, but from a performance standpoint, just performance, it was good. We lost the match, which is very important, but the team played better. I already talked about this match before, so I won't analyze it too much, but pretty much Arsenal gave us a lot of space to use in transition, which made us look even better than we were. Arsenal themselves weren't very good on the day. They only really had 1 good chance, and that was the corner that they scored, which even then was very contentious, and Cunha had an absolute masterclass performance, and on a different day, maybe we win the game 3-1 or something, but that's not how football works and we lost. But leaving the match, there was a feeling that maybe finally things had changed. Maybe Amorim had finally tweaked the system and was gonna platform us to be better in the season going forward. Yeah, no, that wasn't the case. Amorim over the next few games has made 0 changes to his system, and we have been getting killed in almost every game. In our first 5 matches, including the Arsenal game, we have 1 win, and yes, you see that right, we lost to 4th Division Grimsby, and not because of some fluke either, but we'll get into that in just a second. Our next match would be in the league against Fulham, which was an absolute snooze fest. The first half was almost fully uneventful until Bassi would give up a penalty at the 35th minute. Penalty that Bruno Fernandes would proceed to sky over the bar because the ref bumped into him, and the match would remain 0-0. The second half would see a goal apiece and the game would end 1-1. We played better in the first half than in the second half, because in the second half, Fulham manager Marco Silva would make a simple adjustment and was able to pretty much counter Amorim's tactics in that second half. One easy tweak from Fulham saw them be the better team and set the tempo in the second half. It's that easy to counter this guy's system. But next up, we had 4th Division Grimsby. It should be a cakewalk, right? That's what you would imagine. Any club, 3rd, 2nd, 1st Division in England, Grimsby should be a cakewalk. But we lost to them, and like I said, it was no fluke. It's because they sniffed up the system that Amorim uses and literally just countered it to kill us from a tactical standpoint. Sure, we lost in penalties, but Grimsby probably should have won that game before it even got to that point. And I'll get into specifically why this system is so easy or pretty much counter in just a second, but really, the main theme out of these first 5 games that we've had this season is that our system is just terrible. So now, having just lost to Grimsby, we knew we were not safe going into our next game against Burnley. But to all of our surprises, it seemed like again maybe something had changed. But you know how it is, Amorim saw a newly promoted team, so he woke up. In our one and only one of the season, we would start off the game on fire. We aggressively pinned Burnley back and created chance after chance, but only managed to get 1 goal. The understanding after the first half was that we should have been up by more and that we got unlucky. But boy, things changed quickly in that second half. Burnley, we're talking about Burnley here, just like Fulham, essentially made an easy tactical change of pushing more numbers forwards to crowd the midfield, and then that second half, they were able to start creating a lot more chances. Thanks to some poor marking, they'd get an equalizer at the 55th minute, but then Mbeumo would rise for United and got a goal to restore the lead a few minutes later. Having been slapped in the face by Burnley and being able to retrieve the lead pretty quickly, you would assume that maybe Amorim would tweak his system just a little bit to stop Burnley from gaining any momentum and just killing the game there. Well, if you did think that, you'd be wrong. Burnley would equalize again at the 66th minute, and if it weren't for a 97th minute penalty, then United would have drawn the game 2-2. Again, in a match where on paper we should have been the team that got a simple win, we were so easy to play against. And then finally, we have the most recent match against City. On paper, you think, okay, you know what, we haven't had the worst record against City in these last couple of seasons. This isn't the same insane City side. They are a little bit vulnerable. Maybe we can get something out of this match. But from our end, there was an absolute snooze fest. Once again, we saw a shambolic system on display, and really this is the reason why we keep losing. It was incredibly easy for them to abuse that space in behind, and go figure, the best striker in the world, Erling Haaland, take advantage of that and pretty much just killed us. So now 5 games into the season, we have 1 win, 1 draw, and 3 losses, which includes a loss to 4th Division Grimsby. Yes, I will keep talking about it. So why does United keep losing? We brought in Cunha, we brought in Mbeumo, we have a new striker. What is going on at the club that is preventing us from winning? You'll see stats being thrown around of chances created and hoodie, wada, blah, 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 all this stuff. But yet, we keep on losing. Honestly, the squad isn't that bad. We have good players at this point. A different manager could probably get more out of them. So what's going on? Our system is terrible. I keep saying it. I'm going to keep repeating it. Ruben Amorim's system, specifically his, is bad. 3 at the backs as a whole are not the problem. We've seen it with Conte. We've seen it with Inzaghi. 3 at the backs can work. Even Glasner, Crystal Palace, uses a 3 at the back, and they look a lot better than we do. So why is Ruben Amorim's system the problem? Well, other 3 at the backs will allow for the midfield space to have at least 3 bodies in there to prevent them from being overran. Football is a game of numbers. You need people to either play off of or kind of space to run into. Having 3 bodies in the midfield allows your team to be able to control the ball a whole lot better. Even then, when you're going back in transition on defending, it allows you to be set up in a much better way to prevent space from being abused. So with that being said, we have two bodies in the midfield, just two, and one of them is Bruno Fernandes, arguably one of the best creative players specifically in the world. So realistically, he finds himself going forward a lot, which then leaves a massive hole in the middle. But even then, if we switch to a different person, let's say Kobe Mainu or someone else that we sign on the transfer market, it still wouldn't solve the problems because we're always getting outnumbered at least 3-2 or 4-2 in the midfield. It's hard for us to control games or be set up well to defend counters or defend teams when they do have more possession of the ball because we don't have that many bodies in the middle. So that's kind of just a structural standpoint. And then now it's the question of how do we build up and how do we attack? Well, we don't use the midfield either. We only ever use the wingbacks to build up. We use Dorgu, we use Ahmad, which is pretty easy to counter because you just put more bodies on them or pin them back so they have to start from deeper. Or we lump a ball forward into Sheshko or whoever's up there to hope that they win it, and then we put those wing backs to run forward and hope that they can get on the end of long balls forward. It's so easy to counter. Every single team that has outplayed us this season just puts extra numbers in that midfield space to crowd it. It doesn't work. Amorim specifically has to go because this system, we've seen what it's capable of. This guy is starting to break so many negative records. He has a terrible win percentage. He's probably the worst coach we've had statistically since Sir Alex Ferguson. That says a whole lot. He finished in 15th. Guys, we've seen what this system could do. I like Amorim. He's an okay person. Nothing against him personally, but this system is capped at a certain level. And to be honest, I think the damage has been done. Win or lose against Chelsea, I don't care. I think this guy needs to go for the betterment of the club. We could get a different manager that plays three at the back and just tweak the system and move players here, there, and we would see such different results.